Well, he was a member of the 2002, 2003 Grand Rapids Griffin, so we're going back a few years, but we'll talk more about that in just a bit. Currently, the assistant general manager, director of player personnel for player development for the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning, Stacy Roest. Congratulations, man! What a run!
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for having me. And yeah, it was incredible. The whole season was, going along, and then a little bit of a pause there, and then picked it back up in the bubble. But it was a lot of fun.
I can't help but notice in the background, here you are, a Stanley Cup champion with the Tampa Bay Lightning, yet proudly displaying that Detroit Red Wing jersey, or maybe that's an Adirondack Red Wing jersey in the background.
That's it. Oh, that's where it all started.
Yeah.
After 3 years in Adirondack, my rookie jersey there. So that one's special, and my wife did a nice job hanging up all my jerseys down here, so it's pretty special.
Yeah, we might have to pan there before we go off with this interview, but I want to ask you about winning a Stanley Cup. Stace, obviously as a player, you'd love to have had a chance to hoist the cup, but gosh, given your role with the Tampa Bay Lightning and / Syracuse Crunch over the last 8 years now, your role developing these young guys to put the Lightning in the position that they were in to win a cup, you got to feel pretty darn proud of that, and hoisting that cup with a suit and a tie on. Nothing wrong with that at all, huh?
Yeah, like you said, you always want to win it as a player, and then the next best thing is staying in the game after you retire. And I was fortunate enough that Steve hired me, in Tampa when I retired, and it's been incredible. Just starting as a part-time scout to up to director of player development, and then on to assistant GM, and so it's been a lot of fun and a lot of learning, and it's been a great experience so far.
Stacey, where do you spend most of your time during the season? Is it in Syracuse, or are you still around scouting? I mean, you're obviously keeping tabs on the young prospects, that not just the ones that are in Syracuse, but all around North America.
Yeah, this is my first year of being the GM in Syracuse, so I did spend a lot of time there, with the coaching staff and watching games, and then more time in Tampa watching those games. Caught them on the road as well, and then still getting around to see all the prospects and learning the some free agents and doing some scouting. So a little bit of everything to watch as much hockey as you can, and see whatever the schedule permits.
Well, now you just got to figure out a way for Syracuse to beat Grand Rapids, because they haven't been able to do it up to this point. Huh?
Yeah, they got us twice. Yeah, that's good teams back then.
I'll tell you what, I've said this many times before. I mean, if there's another city in this league I'd love to see win a title, Syracuse would be it. I mean, we just had such a great time, in those series. Obviously great because the Griffins are fortunate enough to come out with a couple of Calder Cups against the Crunch. But the fact that they were there and have such a great history of hockey in that city and tremendous fan base, hard not to step away from there going, man, you hope that you kind of silently root for them to win something someday.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great city. It's a great old barn there. Done a nice job upkeeping it and upgrading it with the scoreboard and the suites and everything. But yeah, it's a great hockey city. I remember back when I played in Adirondack, going in there was always a tough barn to play in. The fans are so passionate. So hopefully one day we can get them a championship as well. Speaking
of championships, Tampa Bay, the city of Tampa has, I tell you what, you get the Lightning with the Stanley Cup. As of this recording, the Rays are in the World Series, down 3-2 to the Dodgers. And heck, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers are even kicking up the heels a little bit down there, huh?
It's been a good run for Tampa Bay for sure. But you saw even after we won and went down there with the water parade there, what an experience. And the fans are so passionate, and you can see when the rink's full and the barn gets rocking there, gets the boys going, and great city, great owner. It's been a lot of fun.
Is hockey bigger than baseball in Tampa? I mean, it seems that way, although obviously what the Rays are doing right now is going to, not that baseball wasn't on the map before, but it's certainly enhanced with this run.
Yeah, I think this run will definitely help, but I think hockey's huge down there. We sell out every game, and the fans everywhere you go, they've got their Lightning gear on, and the Lightning are a big hit down there.
I just think the Rays need a new stadium, right? That'd probably help a little bit.
That might help to get over there. Yeah, exactly. So it's a little bit tougher over there, but they're doing a great job, and hopefully they can pull it off tonight and force a Game 7.
Well, speaking of a great job, as I mentioned, Stace, what you guys have done with that affiliation with Syracuse and the young prospects, getting them in there and developing them and setting up, the opportunity to win a Stanley Cup. I mean, Stacy Roest deserves a ton of credit, obviously. How much does Steve Eismanns, fingerprints on this thing?
Oh, they're huge. I mean, you look back at the draft and all the people he hired for the draft are the ones still running the draft, and then the development. You know, when I played in Detroit, they slow played a lot of their prospects. You had to put your time and you had to make sure you were ready for the pressures and the travels of the NHL. And in Tampa, we did the same thing. You can tell when a player's playing there, and you see it in Grand Rapids as well. Every AHL team, you can tell when a player's ready to move on, when every night he's a dominant a force, in the American Hockey League. And I think over the years, we've done a nice job of that, of making sure that our young guys play and do a nice, once you develop them. And I always say, it's tough to rewind development, because if you don't develop them, early enough, and then you get them to the NHL, it's a tough league. And once that league gets a hold of you, if you're not ready for it, it's a tough go.
Stacy, I'm guessing that you probably applied a lot of what you learned early on in your pro hockey career out of Medicine Hat in the Western Hockey League, undrafted, despite 120 some odd points. I think your final year there, Kenny Holland signed you and to a contract with the Red Wings. You play in Adirondack, Glens Falls, New York, where the Red Wings had their affiliate for a number of years, and you probably paid a lot of attention to the way they did things, the way they developed. I mean, you're talking just before you got there, Osgood, McCarty, LaPointe, all these guys played in Glens Falls on their way to Detroit and helping them win Stanley Cups in 97 and 98.
Yeah, I mean, when you go in there, like for myself, I signed an AHL contract. So and then 3 years later, I was playing in the NHL for the Red Wings. So they a little bit there. You went there, everybody got a fair chance. It didn't matter what round you were drafted in, everybody got a fair chance, and the best players played the most. And then at the end of the day, you get paid to win in the NHL. So the best players played, and if you're deserving of a call up or a chance to get up there, you got the opportunity. So you learn a lot by going through it, and that's one nice thing is being a lower level. If you're playing the minors and then you work your way up and you get a chance to play in the NHL, you've kind of went through all the stages, so that when you do go to the front office or you can kind of understand what all these young prospects are going through, because you've had all those steps yourself.
Well, of course, you eventually wound up in Minnesota, a couple of years in the National Hockey League with the Wild, then back with Detroit for the first year of the affiliation agreement here, actually in 2002. And had a heck of a year, Stace. And then the following year off to Switzerland, where you played, 9-10 years before hung up the skates?
Yeah, played 9 years over there. I love my time in Grand Rapids. It was great.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. We had a really good team that year. Didn't quite go all the way, but had a good playoff run. And then after that year with the lockout coming, my wife and I decided to go over there and play. And the plan was to play a couple of years and then come back. But 9 years later, we stayed over there the whole time, and it was a great place to play. But I definitely did miss playing over in North America, and obviously in the NHL or AHL. But it was a good experience to play over there in Europe.
Yeah, that Grand Rapids team, we look back. In fact, we were just talking the other day to Don McLean, the 05-06 team, which may have been the very best team not to win a championship here in Grand Rapids. That 02-03 team, though, I'd put right up against it. I mean, it's 48-22 and a few overtime losses along the way, or shootout losses. But that was a heck of a team. Michel Picard, Jason Williams, Travis Richards, Derek King. I mean, the list goes on and on. Some awfully talented players, led, of course, by Stacy Roest. 72 points in 70 games, I think it was that year.
Yeah, Mark Mowers and Michel Picard, they were the top line, and Derek King and myself. And then actually Thomas Kopecky was a young rookie that year. It was fun to play with those guys. Good goaltending, Joey McDonald and Mark Lamont.
Yeah, Mark Lamont, yeah.
Travis Richards, and it was a good that was a really good team. We just came up a little bit short, ran out of gas, and a couple injuries down the stretch in the playoffs. But that was a lot of fun that year.
As he was known here, Rooster. I tell you what, my greatest memory, one of my best memories in my 20 years in Grand Rapids came in Houston, Texas, in the conference finals, Game 5, backs against the wall, must win to come back home for Game 6. And Stacy Roest scores, I think it was short side of the net in double overtime to bring the series back to Grand Rapids.
Yeah, I remember that goal. I remember it was funny because we were so fired up after the game, but we were so tired because it's a little bit of a travel, been a long season, long series, and we got her back, and then we won the next game, and then we couldn't pull it off in Game 7. But no, that was I remember scoring that goal with a pass from Derek King and threw it in their short side. So, but big goal in the Griffin's history, but it wasn't enough to win the series.
It was either a night or two later. Mark, you mentioned Mark Mowers. He scored in overtime in Game 6 to force a 7th game against the Houston Aires, who eventually went on to win the Calder Cup.
Yeah, I think the game 7 was one. If I remember correctly, I think it was 1-0 in game 7, and then
Yeah, you might be right. It was either 3-1 or 1-0, one of those two.
and
We
then
lost.
Houston went on to beat Hamilton in the final. So no, that was a great. It was a good series. We had a good team.
Yeah, and I think there was a couple other years where I know in 16 we lost to Cleveland. So those things happen. And I guess you kind of hang your head a little bit on the fact that hey, we made a run in the playoffs, but we lost to the eventual champs. I don't know how much stock you put in that, but it eases the pain a little bit, I guess, huh?
Yeah, well, once you lose out, you don't want anybody to win. That's the way.
Yeah, that's right.
No, you're right. That's what the great thing about playoffs. There's once you get a chance to in the playoffs and get a chance to win the title, it's everything tightens right up and close series and competitive hockey.
Stace, why did you leave? I mean, you had a great year, as we said, in 0203 with Grand Rapids. I know you mentioned to me you only got a couple of games in Detroit. And you saw all those superstars that were signing and a few more guys coming up through the ranks that would likely lead the Wings to a couple of more Stanley Cups. But you were still relatively young at that point, and they were coming off a couple of years in the NHL. Sometimes you sit back, us observers on the outside looking in, sit back and wonder why a guy like Stacy Roest decided to leave North America and pursue playing hockey over in this case Switzerland.
Well, originally it was more just for the lockout to get ahead, get a job over there. And in Switzerland, it expressed interest, and only back then I think it was only 3 imports per team. Got a good job over there, and then the plan was to come back and after a couple of years and the lockout gets figured out and come back and play again. But then I ran into some injuries with my hip and my elbow, so I couldn't really get fully healthy in any off season to give it a good chance. So then it ended up, once you get over, I was 31, 32, then it gets, I just kept playing and signed a couple-year contract at a time, and we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, Switzerland, I've seen some photos. There's pictures of outdoor games amidst the mountains, the Alps serving as the backdrop, or the Matterhorn. I mean, is it as beautiful as it shows up in photos that I've seen, even the black and white photos?
It's fantastic. My wife did a great job because both my kids, my son Austin, he's now 16, my daughter is 12. They were born over there. So on the weekends, we generally had Sundays off, and we'd find a place to go to Switzerland and drive around and tour, try and see as much as the country's so small. You can see the whole country. You can do a day trip and go anywhere. So it's a beautiful, beautiful country. And the Spengler Cup at Christmas and New Year's was always a special tournament too. I played in 8 of those. So it was a lot of fun to play over there and get to Team Canada does a great job of bringing Christmas over to Switzerland for all of us. So, and that was a great, when you go up to Davos up there in the mountains and play some hockey, and you get the outdoor rinks and the kids are firing around in the outdoor rinks. It was a lot of fun.
So I think you were on the easternmost part of Switzerland, right? What was your furthest road trip?
It was only we had maybe 2.5 hours was probably and it was funny because when you get on the bus for those first couple trips and the players they're wincing about this long bus ride, and I'm sitting there coming from Grand Rapids saying this is nothing for us. This is a day trip. But that was but no, yeah, it was, you're home every night. It's it's not the NHL. I'm not gonna lie to you. Everyone wants to play in the NHL, but I was fortunate enough to play for some years over there and really enjoyed it.
Well, it's and that country loves its hockey too. If I'm not mistaken, they average like 8,000 a game league wide. I mean, a couple of teams that average 15, 16,000 people a game.
Yeah, no, they do great. I mean, the Burns were one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. I remember the first time playing in there. You walk out, you skate out, and there's a big wall of about 10,000 people straight up in the air. It's pretty intimidating. So, and they're doing a good job. There's more and more Swiss players are getting drafted and get to the NHL. They've started right from the bottom, more like a Sweden and Finland, right at the bottom from the junior ranks, and all these. They're hired. All these associations are really into the development and small area cross ice games, which my son was fortunate enough to go through his first couple of years of hockey, which was great. So they're doing a good job, and the country is smaller, so it is harder for them to produce as many players. But the country as a whole in hockey is coming along, and they'll keep getting better.
Yes, we talked to Eddie Peterson the other day, former captain of the Griffins, and his son Max just graduated from the Western Junior League. Your son Austin, you mentioned, just got drafted by Everett last year, so a chance he might be playing in the Western Junior Hockey League. And then I think it was draft year coming up this year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, hopefully another Roest to play some pro hockey.
Yeah, he got drafted there last year. His draft year will be next year, not this coming up season.
Okay, yeah.
He's an underage, but yeah, we'll see. Once the Western League, the CHL, gets playing full time, once training camps open, hopefully, which will happen sooner rather than later, we'll see how training camp goes. And so right for now, he's playing in his major midget season here in Kelowna, so it's good. He's on a team. They're playing games and practicing, so it's all good for now.
All right, so back to Switzerland. We're going to wrap this thing up. I asked you about Bandy Ball.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised you hadn't heard of it. It started in 1907. It was Swiss royalty that played these annual hockey tournaments called Bandy Ball, and it was played with a ball. So we've got some video. I sent it to you. I'm assuming you watched it.
Sent it to me. Yeah.
Did you not laugh out loud?
Yeah, no, I've never seen it. I've never seen it.
I just watching that goalie jump up in the air like a soccer goalie trying to stop a shot, and then the scrum play with the almost looks like a rugby play, separated rugby play.
That looks a little dangerous with sharp blades on your feet. I didn't like that. And the goalie, I'm sure the goalie had much of a chance there. I wonder what the save percentage would be for him.
Yeah, oh man, the big nets. And how about the ice surface? Can you imagine playing on that thing?
Yeah. If you're not a good skater over there, you're gonna have a hard time touching the ball for sure.
Yeah, and then a 3-and-3.
Yeah.
Oh my.
You got to be in good shape.
Well, Stacy, it's so awesome catching up with you, and just another credit to this organization, to the game of hockey, and but we can't extend enough in the way of congratulations to you and your family, and to the Tampa Bay Lightning for a Stanley Cup, and special for you too because you're an Alberta boy, so you got a chance to win it right there in your home province in Edmonton. That had to add to it a little bit, huh?
Yeah, it was great. It was great, being back in Alberta. I don't get back there much, unless it's during the season to go through some scouting and stuff. But it's always great to be back in Alberta. Although we were in a bubble, it was a little bit different than normal. But no, we had a good time. Very fortunate and very thankful for everybody along the way that has a part in your career. And it was nice to win a championship. And now we got to try and do it again.
Well, 8 years with the Tampa Bay Lightning now, just promoted to assistant general manager. We congratulate you for that. Well-deserved, but proof that once a wing, always a wing. Just look over his left shoulder. There it is, the Wings jersey. I love it.
It all started, yeah. It all started.
Congratulations again, Stacey. Thanks a ton for doing this.
No problem. Thanks again, and stay safe, and always good to see you.